Hey you all, also hi to fellow dressmakers. You're welcome to another interesting tutorial. I'm Confidence. In this video, we'll be making this irresistible fine bubu gown that you can see in the middle. So I made the one on the left and on the right. And if you're interested in learning how to go about the making of this dress, do watch this video to the end and let's get right into it. So you'll be needing 4 yards of fabric for this particular bubu design, and here I have 4 yards of this Mikado fabric. This is the shiny Mikado fabric and I have just 4 yards for this. And then the length, this comes in length 59, not up to 60. So yeah, now for the folding, you can decide to fold it like this, but this would only work if your length is 59, or you fold it this way in a way that the two selvage are meeting like this. Then you go ahead and pin it down, just down the same way I did mine. Now what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and smoothen this fabric, then measure all the way to my length and cut it out. It will be easier to work with it that way, so I'll just measure my length and cut it out this way. Now, I'll come here and measure my shoulder measurement by 2. Then from that point, I'm going to measure the sleeve length. And the sleeve length is going to be long sleeve. So I'll be using the whole length I have left, like all the way to the selvage of this fabric here. Okay, and then I'll mark it. Now I'll start from here and come down to my round sleeve. Let's say my round sleeve is 7 inches. I'm going to double it. So this is 7 inches, double of it is going to be 14, but here I'll be marking 17 inches. So you want this to be as wide as possible because you're going for the balloon sleeve, yeah? Okay, now I'm going to make sure I have the same thing I have on the shoulder line here too. Then I'm going to use my ruler to mark it, connect it straight to the shoulder, just like this. Just make sure you at least have double of your round sleeve as the round sleeve of this. Now I'm going to come in here by 2 inches, then I'm going to use my ruler again and slant it to the shoulder. This is just to prevent this part of the sleeve to be popping out. You know, this is going to, there is no armhole curve here, yeah? So this is like going to prevent it for it to be popping out, and at the end of the day, it's going to look like it's the same length with what you have on the shoulder. I don't know if you understand, but I usually do this on my boo-boos. Now I'll start on the shoulder and go down to my hip line, then I'll mark it. Then on that point, I'll be marking my hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 4 inches. Then I'm going to take it down. Now these 4 inches that I added to my hip line is totally optional. For what is on the thumbnail, you should do from 6 inches upwards. If you go to the brand's page, you will see that it's a one size fits, meaning that you shouldn't do these 4 inches that I have here. Instead of that, you should be doing from 6 inches to even 10 inches so that any size can wear it and it will be just look like a boo-boo. Do you understand that? But for me, I don't want this to be too big. I'm too small and I don't want people to be looking for me inside this dress. So I'm adding just 4 inches to my hip measurement. Then I'll take it down. Whatever it is I have on the hip, I'm going to take it all the way to the hem of this dress. And this means that at the end of the day, I'll have to add a slit to this so that I can be able to at least walk. Okay, do you understand? But if you add from 6 inches up, you don't need to add slit. So later on, I'll be doing slit of about 6 to 10 inches so that I can walk freely. Now, like I said, you're simply connecting like this, just the same way you see me connect it, meaning that you are adding like 8 inches to your hip line. But this should be as wide as possible if you're making this for people without their measurements. I think I'm talking too much, but yeah. So I'm just going to connect it like this to my own measurement because I'm making this for my size and not for another person. And like I said, I don't want this to be too big. Now, to add just a little cow effect, I'm going to measure from my hip line down to 10 inches. That's just where I want the cow effect to be. Then I'm going to come in here to 6 inches. That's like the breaking point of the curve. Okay, that's like where the curve started, and then I'm going to give it the shape here the same way you curve out your cow effect, just that mine is just this small. You can decide to do it this way, or you can even decide to like make it bigger than what I have here. But yeah, I just want a little cow effect here, and then I'll blend it from the 10 inches I have from my hip line down. Do you understand that? Now for the neckline, I'll be doing 2.5 as the neck width. And I'm sure you saw the effect. So if you want it as wide as it is on the thumbnail, you should be marking 4 inches or 4.5 here, so that by the time you add your placket, which is going to be like 2 inches, you will have like 3.5 wideness. But yeah, I did just 2.5 by 1 inch as the neck depth here, and then 2.5 as the neck width. Then I curve it out this way. This is the back pattern, okay? Then after that, I'm simply going to cut this out. And while cutting, I'm kind of adding extra half inch stitching allowance all the way to the, yeah, all around where I marked. So after cutting it out, this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to keep this aside, then bring the other remaining fabric. But what I did was to iron it in a way that it created a crease line, like the midpoint of the fabric. It will be easier for you to just do it that way. Okay, you're going to iron it to create a crease line like this, and this is the back part of this. Okay, now you're going to start here, which will serve as the shoulder, and measure down to your under bust line. From your shoulder to your under bust, mine is 13.5, and I would advise that you maintain your actual under bust. Do not even add to it. I made the mistake of adding 1 inch to it, and I kind of regretted that. So now from that under bust point, I'll be measuring the intervals, like how bold I want the pleats to be, and I'll be doing just 1.5. So from that under bust marking, I'll be marking 1.5 intervals as much as I can have it. Okay, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and then I'm going to start pleating. Let me do this much and see what it gives me. Now you're going to start picking on the intervals that you marked. You pick on this 1.5, then you place it on the next one, and then the direction of the pleat is should be going up. Can you see the direction is going? It's not facing down, rather it's coming towards the shoulder, because this is the wrong side of the fabric. By the time you turn it to the right side, is going to be like going down the direction of the pleat. Do you understand? But if it will be easier for you to do this from your right side, go ahead and do it from the right side of the fabric. But yeah, this is way easier for me because of the chalk. It's kind of hard to clean it off the fabric afterwards. So that's why I'm doing this on the wrong side of the fabric. So you pick on the 1.5, then you place it on the other one. And then when you exhaust the intervals that you marked out, you can go ahead and mark other ones. If you measure it and then you see that it's not up to what you should have. Okay, this is supposed to stop from your shoulder to your waistline plus extra 3 to 4 inches. Okay, so you measure from your shoulder to your actual waistline, then you add 3 inches or 4 inches to it, depending on where you want the placket to sit. But I did 5 inches for mine. And yeah, I'm here to show you so that if you see that mine is a mistake, you can correct yours. So after doing that, this is what it's looking like. Then I'll measure from the shoulder down to where I have the pleat stops at the moment, and I have 21 inches. I should have left it this way, but again, because I have trust issues, I had to make it 22 inches. So what I did was to mark another 1.5, and then even another 1.5, then pleat it to make the length 22 inches. Do you understand what I'm trying to explain? So yeah, but yours, you're supposed to measure from your shoulder to your waistline, then you add extra 3 inches to it, or 4 inches. Do you understand? So after doing this now, I'm now going to repeat this same pleat on the both on the left and on the right. This is something you can be doing on your ironing table. You can do this once anyway, but yeah, I choose to do mine this way. So you're going to repeat the same pleat you have on the middle. You're trying to like extend it both on the left and on the right side of this fabric. Make sure you're maintaining the same thing. If you need to mark it, go ahead and mark the intervals again, or if you can just pick it, like pick it from what you already have on the midpoint to the side, go ahead and do it. However you choose to do it, you're supposed to have the same thing you have on the center, on the left hand side, and also on the right hand side. Then after making sure that you have it accurate and they are both aligning on both sides, yeah, you're simply going to iron this out. Okay, you use your steaming iron to iron this out, just so you have a uniform and a well formed pleat. And after doing all of that, this is what mine is looking like. So you can decide to iron it all the way to the side, like take the pleats all the way to the side, or you just do it the same way. Okay. Now the next thing we'll be doing now is to start from the crease line and mark 1 inch on both sides, and this 1 inch on both sides is we are trying to create a space for the placket to sit. So I won't advise that you go beyond this 1 inch, except you want your placket wider, then you can do 1.25 or even 1.5. Then after marking it, you're going to stitch about 0.25 away from the line that you marked, going out, not going inside. Do you understand? Just so you have something like this. I ended up stitching exactly on that line. That's why I said you should stitch 0.25 away from the line that you marked. Now I'm going to place the back pattern on it this way, and you should focus on the midpoint. Make sure they are aligning on the midpoint, and then you pin it down. And then for the plate, you arrange it in a way that it's going the same direction as you have it on the midpoint of the dress. Do you understand that? It shouldn't be going down, it should actually be going up. Then because I don't want, like I said earlier, I don't want this dress too big, I had to take out from the excess on the shoulder. I don't know if you understand. After cutting this out, I think you'll see it better. But then arrange your pleat in a way that it's going the same direction as you have it on the midpoint of the dress. Then after that, you're simply going to trace this out. If you need to pin this down, go ahead and pin it down. But you're simply going to cut following the shape you have on the back pattern. You cut it out this way, and then when you get to this part that you have excess fabric, you also arrange it. You can see on the shoulder the amount that I took out, because like I said, I don't want this too big. But yeah, for what is on the thumbnail, you're not taking out any excess anywhere. Then after that, you're going to notch on the neck width, yeah, on the shoulder. Then you're going to come somewhere here, and then you're going to make a notch. I'm not going all the way to the 10 inches we have from the hip down earlier. Okay, just around that point I gave it a notch, and that would help me to make sure that my pleat doesn't get to that point. Now I'll take out the back pattern, then come to the shoulder, and then for the neckline, I'll be doing the same 2.5 we did as the neck width for the back. Okay, then I'll be going down to where the pleat stops, or that's where the placket will be stopping. Okay, so yeah, then on that point again, I'll be marking 1 inch, and then mark 1 inch all the way to my neck depth. Okay, once I get somewhere around my neck depth, I'm going to measure from the shoulder to where I want the neckline to sit, and then you're going to mark it. On that point again, you're going to mark your 1 inch. Make sure you have where you want this to sit, and make sure it's not too deep. If your neckline is wide, I think I did 9 inches here, and that works because mine is like high neck and not as wide, like the neckline is not as wide as you have it on the thumbnail. Do you understand that? And now with a straight ruler, I'm going to connect this from that point where the placket will be stopping all the way to my neck depth, and then connect it with a V shape this way to the neck width like this. Then after that, I'm simply going to arrange the pleats and cut it out. Just arrange your pleat so that you cut just the exact 1 inch you marked here, because even this 1 inch I marked, at the end of the day it ended up being 2.5. Yeah. So again, now because of the mistake I made earlier, I'll go ahead and stitch down the pleats to have something like this. Then after that, I'll spread it open this way, then place the back pattern on it, shoulder to shoulder, right side to the right side, and then I'm going to join it on the shoulder. Very simple. Then after joining it on the shoulder, I'm going to fold the hem of the sleeve just to create a casing for the elastic to pass. Depending on the size of the elastic you're working with, depends on how much space or casing you're creating for it. Then after doing all of that, this is what I came up with. This is the sleeve hem, which I already created a casing because I'm using just this size of elastic, and this would go through it without stress. Then after joining the shoulder, I press open the seam, and you can see how neat it is. Now you're going to wrap your elastic on where this sleeve would be sitting at the end of the day. It's a long sleeve, yeah, but you're going to wrap this around where this is going to sit at the end of the day. Then whatever you have, you're going to cut two of that, and then you take one and pass it on this casing you created for the elastic. Okay, I'm using my safety pin to do this, and then you're going to pass this before it gets all in. The elastic goes all inside the casing. You're going to use your pin to hold it down so that you don't end up wasting your time. Then you're going to continue passing this until you get to this end. And after doing that, I didn't have much gathers, meaning that this is too loose. So I had to take out more elastic on this end and even had to fit my hand to see if it's too tight, and it's not tight and it's not too loose. So yeah, I'm going to pin it down here, cut off the elastic. Then I'll go ahead and repeat this exact same thing on the other sleeve. Yeah, pass the elastic and even make sure I cut out the same yeah, elastic is the same way I cut it out on this end, making sure it's the same measurement so that the two sleeves will come out the same. Now after doing that, you're not going to hold it like this, and then you're going to join with half inch. Okay, you pin it down there, and then you come to this part where you notched earlier. You are going to also pin it down. You pin it all the way down, then your pleat should be going up. You should pleat this to be going up, not downwards, so that it will form that nice drape you can see on the Bubu dress. Okay, go ahead and look at it again so that you see the draping effect. If your pleat is going downwards, it's not going to give you that draping, but you have to take these pleats up this way, and then you're going to join with your half inch on both sides. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, then after that, this is what it's looking like. I went ahead to iron this out, and this is the slit I talked about. So with this now, I can walk as much as I want and as fast as I want, because mine is not as wide as what we have on the thumbnail. Okay, and I also went ahead to hem the down part. Now the next thing we'll be working on is the belt. So I would advise that on this around this under bust where you have the pleat here, go ahead and use your hemming gum. It will make your life a whole lot easier and even make the boo come out smooth. So just around the under bust, use your hemming gum to hold the pleats down so that you won't have a hard time with fixing your belt the same way I had doing mine. So I like to join my belt this way. I first pin it down this way, then I'll join it here. Then after that, I'm going to turn it like this and then top stitch on this other side too. This way, it helps hide the rough edge, yeah, on the belt. But you can just decide to like weave it and then join it the normal way. And again, I'm not fixing this randomly. I'm fixing this on my waist measurement divided by 2. And to get this measurement easily, you're going to minus that same 1 inch you cut out on the midpoint here, and then you're going to mark your waist measurement divided by 4 on one side, and then you minus the 1 inch again on the other side and mark your waist measurement divided by 4. And the band, you're supposed to fix it, or the belt, you're fixing that from where this pleat starts. That's your under bust, right? You don't have to measure your under bust again. Just fix it from where the pleat starts and on your waist measurement. Now, after doing that, you see what I have, and now I'm going to measure around the neckline. Just measure this carefully, because any mistake, you have to cut plenty flaps for this, plackets for this. Okay, then after measuring it, I had 48 inches, and now I'm going to use this fabric to cut out the placket or the flap. So I measured 48, and with this can give me the 48 inches and even extra. But in any case where you don't have much or long enough fabric to give you the whole length, let's say you have just 30 inches instead of the 48, and then you have this much space around here, we're simply going to fold it like this, and then you measure the width that you want, and now you're going to measure your 24, meaning that you have 24 here and 24 on the other side. That would give you your 48 inches. Of course, you need to add the extra allowance here, and then you're going to join it to make it one whole long flap. Do you understand that? But yeah, since I have long enough fabric to give me the whole length I'm going for, just going to measure 25 inches here. So from this starting point here, or this end, I'll be measuring down to 25 inches and even start again on this end and mark the same 25 inches, just so I have a straight line. Yeah. Now for the width, I'll be doing 7 inches, because you already know I have trust issues. But normally you're supposed to measure like 5 or 6 inches, 5 or 6 max. but I'm doing 7 inches. I wasn't sure if this fabric would shrink or not, so that's why I had to measure 7 inches. And at the end of the day, I had to take out some of it. Okay, and after marking it out, I'm going to cut it out this way. The next thing now is to go ahead and interface this, and you'll be needing your gum stay, not the hardest one, but just the one in between. Okay, but since I don't have that, I'm going to make use of this paper stay. This is just the one that most people know as tissue stay, so I'm going to interface it with this, but instead of doing one, I'll be doubling it. Okay, and then interface it. And after doing that, I went ahead to fold it on both sides and even fold it into two to, yeah, to create the crease line of the center midpoint like this. So at the end of the day, I have 2 inches here as the whole width, and then like this, I have about 6 inches. Just go ahead and cut 5 inches. Like I said, the width is supposed to be 5 or 6 inches max. So for the 2 inches I have as the width of the band, if I measure this one now, you see that I already have two and a half. And then I'll be needing half inch to join it on both sides, meaning that I at the end of the day I will have three and a half, and I have like 4 inches on the band. It will still work. You saw that it worked. So now the next thing I'll be doing is to go ahead and create the midpoint, like indicate the midpoint, and I'll first measure it to see if I still have up to what I'm looking for. I needed 24, yeah, but here I have almost 25 inches. I'm just simply going to like trim this to make it uniform to have just 24 and a half. Yeah, 24 and a half this way. And then now I'm going to use my iron to create the midpoint just around here. Then after that, I'm going to open up this way. It already created a crease line which indicates the midpoint. Now from that point, I'm going to go down to 12 inches. 12 inches is like pretty much standard. If you want it a little decent, remember mine is more like a high neck and not as wide as what you have on the thumbnail. So 12 inches would give you what you have on the thumbnail. And I ended up doing 11 inches for mine, but here I marked 12 inches here. So you're going to start from the midpoint of the band and measure down to 12 or where you want this to sit. Okay, then you're going to sew on this crease line. While you're sewing, you're maintaining the same crease line you have on the down part, the down one here, and then you sew just straight down. And then at the end of the day, you should have something like this, and you can already tell that this is coming out together. Again, I'm going to trim off this excess I have here, and now I'm going to bring in my gown. Okay, the first thing I'll do now on this gown is to hold the two shoulder joining together like this, and then notch on the back neckline to indicate the midpoint. Just hold it this way, smoothen it, and then you notch. That would indicate the midpoint of the neckline on the back. Then you are now going to take the midpoint you have on the band or the placket or the flap, whichever one you choose to call it. And then now you're going to pin it from that midpoint to the midpoint, right side to the right side. Yeah, and now you're going to pin it down from one end, from that midpoint on this side all the way to where the bracket would stop. Yeah, then you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, after pinning it down now, you come to this side, this end here, and then you're going to give it a notch this way. You see the direction mine is going, and you are notching just that same half inch you'll be using to join. And then now you're going to hold it like this. That is where your this stitching is going to stop. Do you understand? And then you're going to do sew it all around, and then at the end of the day, this is what it's looking like. By all means, please try to make sure that these two pleats are aligning, and even this down part. Otherwise, fixing this part is going to give you a hard time. If you had worked with this kind of flap, you would understand what I'm saying. The two sides has to align for you to have the perfect line or the perfect flap. Okay, I tried, even though one side of mine is kind of looking somehow, but yeah, you can see that it will work. Then I noticed that the belt is not nice. It kind of bended the pleat. That's why I say you should use your hemming gun to make your life a whole lot easier. I'll be working on that later. But for now, we are going to stitch in a ditch. Okay, you're going to stitch here, like top stitch in between here. Just this crease line you're seeing here, you're going to stitch there and do the same thing on this other side. We are trying to like top stitch on the other side of the flap. Do you understand? We only joined one side, we still have the other side open, and this is what it's looking like on the wrong side. So you can see that this top stitching it like that to you are kind of stitching this other side of the flap. Okay, and then with it joining all this notch we have here, you don't have to worry about where to start top stitching. You already have that notch and it's going to like help you indicate where you're going to start top stitching from and where you're going to like stop top stitching from. So you're going to stitch in between that point, and after doing that you should have something like this. So you don't need me to tell you that you shouldn't use a contrasting thread, use a matching thread so that your work would come out as neat as you intended for it to be. Do you understand? And this is what it's looking like on the inside. You can see the excess fabric we have there. And the next thing I'll be doing now is to go ahead and take out this excess here. Not all of them. Just leave about half-inch joining, like the same allowance you have on the dress itself. And now this is the wrong side, yeah. You're now going to join it here. It's very simple. As long as you have that notch I said you should have, it will be easy for you to join. You're simply joining here all the way to the other end with a straight stitch. Make sure it's straight. If you have to mark it, go ahead and mark it. But yeah, make sure you're not stitching like gathering any fabric there. You're stitching just here. The notch is there, and it will make your life a whole lot easier if you had that notch. Okay. After doing that, this is what mine is looking like. I went ahead to iron it out and I have worked on the belt and it's still giving me a hard time. So use your hemming gum to make your life a whole lot easier. It will even make it smoother by the time you wear it on that point. And again, I noticed that the belt is kind of slippery. You tie it tight this minute and the next minute is already losing off. So I would advise that while turning the belt, you turn it in a way that instead of having this right side of the fabric, you're using the wrong side as the right side of the fabric. But yeah, that's pretty much about it for this dress, and you can already tell that this came out so well. And with this, we come to the end of this tutorial. Do let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you on my next one. Be good. Bye.